positivity or looking for encouragement. Temia Brinson aims to educate you, to give you the push to believe, to have the mindset for success. Mindset for success. To have the mindset for success. To have the mindset for success.
Welcome to the Mindset for Success show. You guys be blessed. I'm Temia Brinson, your host, and our guest today is Miss Callins-Jones, and she is the CEO of TJ's Designs and Events, an author and motivational speaker. And we also have Tomeka Goodman, and she was the co-host of the Temia and Tomeka show right here in Orlando, Florida. So, Miss Tarralyn-Jones and Miss Tomeka Goodman, welcome to the show.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you guys are here. We have two experts today on self-care and self-worth. And today we're talking about just that, self-care, knowing your self-worth. And recently in the news, in the case of Gabby Petito, there were, eyewitness reports that they saw her fiance, boyfriend Brian slapping her around, and or some type of physical altercation. And then, she ended up missing, and then they found the body and she turned up dead. And then a few years, Lindsay, after covering him with a knife. And then it was another case right here in Orlando where it was a pastor, Pastor Ofori. He shot and killed his wife outside of a Navy Federal Credit Union, outside of her job. So let's go ahead and just take a look at this clip because I just want to set the tone for what we're talking about today. And then I want your thoughts afterwards.
Detectives say it was a calculated crime that happened quickly outside the Navy Federal Credit Union on Tuesday. As Barbara Tomey was arriving for work in the morning, Orlando police say her estranged husband, Sylvester Ofori, fatally shot her several times.
They were going through a divorce, and they were estranged for approximately 3 months.
Investigators wouldn't elaborate about any warning signs that might have led up to the violence, but court records show a fight between the couple in 2016, something that resulted in resisting arrest charges for Ofori that were later dropped. That was his only arrest in Orange County until yesterday.
Someone committed a heinous act of violence towards a loved one, and there's unfortunately no excuse for that.
Police also say they learned Ofori is a pastor at Floodgates of Heaven Ministries in Orlando.
But he did have a pretty big online following, yes. He speaks to his followers and called himself a prophet. His followers called him a prophet.
The church sitting empty today. Meanwhile, Ofori is being held without bond on a charge of first-degree murder with a firearm.
Tragic events happen all the time with people that are looked up to and idolized, and it's unfortunate, it's tragic, and this is what we're dealing with now.
In Orlando, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
All right. So that's just what happened in that case. I'm not sure if it was a previous incident of violence or situation in Neil's case, but the husband claims that she was the abuser. She physically abused him in the past. But the other two cases, like in Gabby and Pastor Aforo, there were previous incidents before. So I just want to go to the both of you. First, you, Tarralyn, what is going on in our communities? We have here Gabby. She seemed to have a very courageous spirit where she's able to, allow herself to travel and just be free and have that, that courage to go ahead and do that without having to get into this rat race that we call life. And then you have Miss Aforo, the pastor's wife. She had a very successful career. She was very accomplished at her job at Navy Federal Credit Union. So, what is it with these women who stay in abusive relationships? In some cases, they may have been the abuser, but why do they stay in these? What do you think? Why do they stay in these toxic relationships?
Sometimes I feel like, from what I have gathered from different ones that's come to me directly or what I have observed, especially with professional women, sometimes they are aware of the situation but afraid to release that information or make it public. So they hide behind this mask and they deal with it at home, thinking they can change the situation. When 9 out of 10, it get worsened. It get worse, and they feel they can fix it, or they simply just live with it. And as time go by, it gets worse to the point where these type of things happen. Either become violent and sometimes death.
Right, yeah. So I'm wondering, like, why do they stay in those relationship? Tomika, let me go to you. How do you feel about that? Why do you think the issue is that they stay, especially it's not like these women weren't good person and good, had a good strong foundations about where they wanna do what they wanna do in life. So they had some sense of what they wanted to do, especially in the case of Gabby and, Miss Oforo, like I said, she was accomplished. She had a great career, you know. So how do you feel about that? Why do women stay in these toxic relationships?
I believe women relationships because they're afraid of the outside sources, like naysayers, especially if they're vested. Sometimes it's hard to get out of relationships, especially if they're like your high school sweetheart, or say if it's your third marriage, and or people's like, well, it has to be you that's making these men do this, or something that you said or something that you did, and they'll just rather just stay and just settle instead of starting all over again.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. They think about how they're gonna go forward outside of the relationship. So let me pivot right now. Tarralyn, let me ask you, as far as the Black community, I've noticed, I thought it was just my family history, where you have like past generations, let's say 3, 4 generations ago, that you had like the dirty South mentality in our communities, where they're broken down in their spirit, especially the men. They're broken down in their spirit and they're told that they're half a human. And so they deal with a lot of frustration, and then they take that back into the home. And it's a lot of abuse that goes on. And again, that's several generations ago, back in the dirty South mentality. But and again, we're doing better now. This is 2021. So we have a lot of whole families. However, it's still a percentage in the Black community that deal with that abuse. And mind you now, I'm not talking just about physical abuse. I mean, it can be
Mental.
mental or verbal
Hmm.
abuse.
Hmm.
So where does well, I know where it comes from, but how do we deal with that in our families today, in our communities?
Well, you have to go way back, because back in the day, the saying was, "What goes on in the home stays in the home,"
Mhm.
and I think that has trickled somewhat to the day, but times have changed. To me, it's more mental abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. The mental abuse kind of, once those words flow, it sticks with that individual that is said to, and one or two things happen. That individual that has been spoken to, those particular words stick with them, and they continue to allow it to affect them in the long run. So these type of things are still trickling today, but I
Mhm.
think with the research and the knowledge of what others are going through, I think has gotten somewhat better. But I agree, it still exists today.
Right, right. And also, Tamika, let me go to you now for our communities within the Black community. What can we do to remedy that and to build back up that self-worth? Because like I said, it's a history in the Black community of some type of abuse. So how do we get to the point where we can remedy that and make ourselves whole?
Well, we have to be the change that we want to see. And if you know, if we continue that whole spectrum of where, you know, what happens in our home stays in the home, then, you know, we'll just continue to allow things to happen and nobody saying anything. So that means that children are continue to be spoken to any type of way. Women continue to be beaten and then, you know, killed. Men are continue to be beaten as well, because there are women that are, you know, are abusive towards their men. Things are continuing to be happening because we are afraid to speak up. So we have to be the change we want to see. So I mean, there's counseling. I mean, in the African American communities, we are so scared of counseling because it's like, oh, we don't need counseling. We don't need Jesus. No, you need counseling. Go to, you know, go to counseling. You know, because it's not for everybody else, for yourself.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to, you guys mentioned shame. That's what popped out in my head. Shame. Why is it, what does that say? This is to both of you. What does that say about how we see ourselves and our perception, our self-worth, and how we take care of our inner selves? What did that say about us? Because it's something about having to allow um, the shame in our mentality, in our mindset, to have that outweigh who comes first. Whether does the relationship come first, or do you come first? Do I come first? And that's to both of you.
You come first.
Yes, you come first.
You come first. Because self-care isn't about self-indulgence. And people ask, what is self-indulgence? It's like an act of allowing yourself to do anything that you enjoy. You come first. It's your priority. And that comes with refreshing and renewing your mind, your body, and your soul.
Absolutely. You are nothing to anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. You can't be anything to anybody else if you don't take care of yourself first.
Right, right. So explain to me, both of you, what is it that you can do if have that mentality that you're so bound that you can't get out of the situation? But because it has to be something within yourself, so it's something you have to work on your part. Tarralyn, what can you do to first get yourself right in your mindset before you even make any kind of move, or any, you know, even if you're going to work on the relationship or if you're going to leave, whatever the case, what steps should one take?
If you're in a situation that was not good for you, you would have to take the necessary resources outside to strategically remove yourself from the situation, especially if it's a dangerous situation. I think when individuals are in a situation like that, one or two things happen. They're afraid because, like Tomeka said, they're vested. It may be a financial situation that they're afraid to remove themselves from because they have not prepared themselves to leave, or they're afraid to leave because they know the repercussions of it. So I think outside resources will be priority to help you strategically remove yourself from the current situation that you're in.
I think more so first, make up your mind, you know, to leave, and never be afraid to walk alone.
Right.
When you decide that nothing else matters but you will get up and go to a shelter if you need to get out of the situation that you're in.
That's right.
Get your kids, get your pocketbook, get your coat, and get up out of there. For us women, we're built to last. We're very
Yes.
ambitious,
Yes.
and we would figure it out. One thing about a woman, we will always be taken care of. There are so
That's
many
right.
programs, so many resources for women and children. So we don't necessarily have to be in any situation that we don't want to be in, because we will always be taken care of. And that is the truth. We will always be taken care of. So never stay in a situation just because a man's making you feel like, oh, you need them. You
Right.
don't. He
They
needs
don't.
you. You don't need him.
Right. Amen. Amen. All right,
Amen.
we get some revelation knowledge over here. So let's move on. As far as, okay, let's flip the script now, because we've been talking about women, and I don't want our men audience to feel some type of way. So, what about if the man is in an abusive relationship? As in the case of Tennille Lindsay, and this is all alleged. He claims that she abused him in the past, and this last blow up, she came at him allegedly. She came at him with a knife, and he struggled to get the knife from her, and out of anger and rage, he ended up stabbing her to death. So, what about the men in these relationships if they're in an abusive relationship? Again, it has to be something within him for him to even stay in a abusive relationship. So what do you say about that situation? And again, this is to both of you.
So he said that he took the knife from so I guess he had a snap moment. So when he took the knife from her, he just decided to continue to stab her. I would say, it happens, because like it happens for a woman, it happens to a man. He could have, left, when, because men easily are flight risk, they're easily to leave. Before a woman can leave, emotionally, a man would just kind of like leave. I'm not really sure if they had children, saying the backstory, if they were vested, like I'm not really sure what the backstory, saying what made him stay to the point where he couldn't take it anymore. And when he, was able to get the knife from her, he continued to stab her to death. So, but from experience, I know that men are, flight risk. They all just leave, saying they'll pack up their stuff and leave before a woman will. So I'm not really sure why he decided to stay. But there are resources for men as well, because men are abused as well, and mentally and physically. Unfortunately, but when a man is abused, they need to call the police, because unfortunately, when a man hits a woman and a girl calls the police, they're going to jail. So you guys need to be the ones to pick up the phone first, because if she does it first, you're going to jail. So you need to be the one, because when I have sons, so I always tell them, if a girl puts their hands on you, you better make sure that you're the one to pick up the phone first, because you're going to jail. So I would say that for them I would say that for him, he need to make sure that he's the one that's calling the police on her. If that's not the case, then he should have just left. I mean, I'm not sure what made him stay. I mean, there has to be something in him. Love doesn't pay bills. I'm sorry. There's no love in the world to saying death do us part. I just don't know. From my experience, I guess I'm biased. From my experience, men are flight risk. They'll just up and leave you. So I just I don't know what else to say in regards to that.
As for me, I really don't know all the details of the case, but it probably could have been handled somewhere, or it could have been something that had been existing and happened a long time, and he just snapped. Something happened. But he could have removed himself. And I agree with Ms. Goodman that he should have removed himself and departed. But of course, I don't know all the details of the case, but it appears that it was in a moment of him snapping.
Okay. All right. All right. I apologize for that. Looked like we had some difficulties. but we are still here. Thank the Lord. Okay, so let me go ahead and go to our next segment. We're going to take a quick break. And like I said, we have two special guests here. We have two experts. And on the other side of the break, we're going to get into each of their stories and we're going to get some good information from the both of them. Okay, so right now, let's go to our break. It's going to be real quick, about 30 seconds, and we'll be right back. All right, all right. You are watching Mindset for Success, and welcome back to the show. I'm Temia Brinson, your host, and our guest today is Miss Tarralyn-Jones, and she is the CEO of TJ's Designs and Events, and an author and motivational speaker. And we also have Miss Tomeka Goodman, and she was the co-host of the Temia and Tomeka show right here in Orlando, Florida. Okay, so let's get right into it. This is our second segment, and if you follow the show, our second segment is always about talking about how we can get our community to having a mindset for success. And like I said, we have two experts on today. We're going to get into their stories. But before we do, let me just set the tone. And I'm going to play this clip. This is a clip of Joyce Meyer. So I just want to set the atmosphere before we get into this part of the show. Okay, just one moment. And on the back, on the other side of this, we're going to get your response, and then we're going to get into each of your stories.
You have to be very positive. Choose your attitude. Thinking negatively makes you miserable. Now here's a statement. But you have the power to be happy. Did you hear me? You have the power to be happy. You say, well, I just don't feel very happy. Well, I just woke up and didn't feel very happy. Well, you know what? You have the power to be happy. You can choose to be thankful. That'll make you happy. You can choose to go do something for somebody else. That will make you happy. You can choose to think about something good. That will make you happy. If you think you got it bad, go find somebody that's got it worse than you. Because there's people everywhere. A negative attitude makes you mean, not confident. How many of you have a lean toward being negative? Let's see how many honest people we have. Come on, put your hand up. If you lean toward being negative. Okay, now, everybody look at me. You can stop that if you want to. You can do something about it. We can preach and preach and preach and preach. God could send you one preacher after another, one teacher after another. You can buy everybody's tapes and everybody's books. But nobody's attitude changes until that person decides to change it.
All right, amen. That was Joyce Meyer, and in her series, Confident Woman. And I just wanted to set the tone for that. So let's go to you, Tomeka. I want to go to you first. You have went through divorce, and just want you to share your story, because at one point you had to make a decision whether it's going to be the relationship or was you going to choose you. So I want you to share your personal story with the audience. Tell us what got you to the point where you said, hey, this is not good for me and I'm going to choose myself.
Yes, the relationship triangle was only beneficial when it was when it had a I guess when it was for a motive. So for those that are not familiar with the relationship triangle, it's, when it's God, husband, wife, children, mother, and so forth. So when I say beneficial for the motive, like, oh, you're my wife when I need my credit good, so I need you to be like I need to be an authorized user on your account, or um and so forth and so forth. When I need to be, when I need to build my credit, or when I need this, or when I need that, or you're my wife. But when it came to like instances where, um, oh, um, but that's the only time that the relationship triangle mattered. Other than that, nothing else came. Everything else came before you. Your mother, children, everything else came before you. So that's when things became equally. That's when things became unyoked. That's a problem when you're married, um, because when you transition over to the other side, inheritance are divided that way. If you're married, it's to your wife, to your children, and so forth. So why not live that way?
Mhm.
Um, so when you don't see eye to eye in that instance, where one person believes that you should live that way when you're married, while you're living, and the other person does not, then it's time to go. Because you cannot have happiness. You cannot be living in hell on earth, because it doesn't work. You come last to no one when you are married. So it's not everybody else than you.
Mhm.
Um, and it's sad to say that a lot of marriages, are built like that. It's like, oh, my mom comes before you. Oh, my children come for you. No, because I'm the biggest mama mia.
Mhm.
And so that's not how it works. And so you choose yourself. So you get happiness, you lose weight, you you get money, you keep your money, and you lose drama, you lose um unnecessary BS, you lose unnecessary a lot of stuff. So you always choose yourself, and you never be afraid to walk alone. You never be afraid to what other people have to say in regards to why you guys split up. You never be afraid to, the naysayers. You never be afraid to any of that, because you were not born a twin. So you were born by yourself, and you will transition by yourself. And that's okay, because people will say what they're going to say, and that's all right, because it's only going to be the next until the next story is put out. So that's how I got through it, and I'm fine with the decision, and and I'm in a better place of it.
Wonderful, awesome. So let me ask you some questions, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
Tomeka. So at one point, okay, what was your experience like, as far as getting into your headspace, the mindset that you had? Were you automatically wired to, okay, well, I'm gonna choose me, or did you have to put in a little work and kind of work on yourself, like coach yourself to get to that level as far as your headspace? Or did you have some friends that you can confide in and maybe they encourage you? What was that process like?
Actually, he helped. Saying he helped me to live without him. He helped me to live without him. You know, you're married and you were doing single stuff, you're blocking your wife, stuff like that. You helped me to live without you. So, with that being said, that means that, hey, I don't need you. Only thing that's left is the paperwork. So, I didn't need anybody else when the person that I'm married to helped me to live without him. I'm just kind of like, what? God is the wonderful God. It's like, what?
Okay, amen. So you're basically saying by his behavior, that
Yes.
kind of led you to realize, hey, I'm living a single life anyway. I'm by myself anyway, because he abandoned emotionally and physically. He abandoned the relationship. So you're in this by yourself anyway.
Right.
So you had to really just come to that revelation, and once you had that revelation, that kinda gave you, the confidence, is what you're saying?
That and finding out different things, saying it was more of a push. It's just kind of like when people do things to you and because they feel like, oh, I'm hurt her by I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And as they're doing this and you start finding out little things, you're like, oh, so that's what's really going on.
Mhm.
Feel this out, feel this out, feel this out.
Right.
It's no crying, it's no more sadness, you know, and then it's like, yeah, time is of the essence. Let's go. Yes. So I'm just kind of like, what's meant to hurt you is actually making you stronger.
Okay, amen. So what would you say, Tomka, to the women out there and or men out there who's in the same situation and their spouse has abandoned the relationship physically and or emotionally, and the other spouse is left dealing with a single life anyway? You came to that revelation, it seems like fairly, no hoops and jumps to get to that point. But what would you say to the woman or man who's having a time getting there?
I would say don't wait like I did, until, you know, don't give them the opportunity to maybe like turn it around. Like I was waiting to like, okay, well, maybe turn it around. Cause marriage, you always wanted to kind of work. You never just want to be like, okay, it's just a hard patch, whatever, da, da, da. I waited, but when I found out that there was somebody else, it was a done deal for me. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, oh, you're doing this because of somebody else. I'm just kind of like, if that's, because I'm just,
Mhm.
if you don't want me, just don't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of like, you don't have to do all that. It's not that deep.
Right.
And so I would just say, once the person, leaves, immediately file that paperwork. Don't allow them to keep coming in, out. Your emotional health is everything because you still have children to take care of, if you have kids, and they deserve all of you. They don't need you crying and worrying about where this person is. You can't shut down, because simple fact that you're in a situation that doesn't mean you no good, because you still have to get up every day and be mom. You have to be the nurse. You have to be everything, saying why this person out here acting the fool. You know what I'm saying? So what I would say is get out that situation immediately because you still have to be your best, regardless of, you feeling your worst.
Right, right. And I just want to say this is for the audience out there that is not only just relationships in marriage, with your spouse. We're talking also about this applies to any type of relationship, family members, uh, friendships, frenemies, you know, how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself, what you will put up with and what you won't put up with, and the confidence level and your self-worth, that means everything, and that plays into every relationship that you have. Okay. So let me go to you, Tarralyn, because you recently wrote a book on self-care, and I just want your expertise on this because I mean it's just a vast amount of information you put out there, and know that you can help the women and some men out there too. So share with us some of the things that we can do as individuals to improve, how we see ourselves, our self-worth. How can we change our mindset to perceiving ourselves as valuable?
Well, self-care is one of the topics that I love to talk about because that applies to me. As you know, I had some health challenges 2002, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had a reoccurrence in 2008, and then it was metastasized to my brain in 2014. And when I look back on it, I was caught up in a routine like everyone else. You're a mother, you're a wife. You just get caught up in a routine. That could be at work, that could be at church. You have positions. And with all of that being said, it becomes stressful for some people. And you simply start forgetting about yourself. You start putting yourself secondary. And that was my case. I had appointments that I canceled. Of course, you have your children's calendar at school. You have to attend their PTA at the time and their sports, and you just get caught in this routine. And before you know it, it's morning time, and then it's night, and the whole day is gone. So with self-care, you have to focus on yourself. Find time for yourself. And I can't stress that enough, because you find yourself getting in a place where you are becoming secondary, and that can be in a dark place because you start allowing things to enter in, meaning depression, low self-esteem.
Mhm.
Those things start entering in your life, and you start making comparison to other, weight gain because of the stress. You
Mhm.
don't like yourself, and the list continues. So what I found is you have to know yourself, dig deep. With me, I'm 55 years old. I tell everybody, I am just now learning who I am. I had to dig deep to find out who I am. I had to love myself, not because of what somebody else say, but I have to love myself. And when you love yourself, and you don't care about what anybody else think about you, or what you say, or what they say about you, things will just flow. You'll feel so free. Um, in life, I just can't describe it. You feel like a feather. Does that make sense? You feel light,
Mhm.
like you don't care about what anybody say, because you love you. And I tell everybody like this. This is my slogan. Life is like a roller coaster. You can scream every time there's a bump, or you can throw your hands up and enjoy the ride. And when I say enjoy the ride, live your life. Do what you want to do. Don't hold back. Just live. Love yourself. Because I'm telling you, once you learn how to love yourself, things will change in your life. And that's my experience. Because right now, I am the self-care diva. Tarralyn's coming first. And I've learned how to not make a comparison about people outside of me. I learned how to say no. That's another thing. Learn how to say no. If you don't feel good, you don't feel like doing something, learn how to say no. Because at one point I was considered a yes person because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I made time for everybody else but me. But now, if I don't feel like doing it or I can't help, the word flow easily. No, not at this time. And when you get to that point, you know you're making strides in your life to live the best you. And that's my experience. And with this book, I found living a mask life, people have become so comfortable with wearing the mask.
Yes.
They apply it to their face because they simply don't want anyone to know what's going on, or they want to play this role like I have it all together when you don't.
Mhm.
You simply want to hide behind that mask because you simply can maneuver freely, you think, behind that mask. But think about it. On a natural sense, if you have a mask on, you're muzzled, you can barely breathe,
Right.
you're restricted. So with this book, I have at the very end, I walk you through how to remove that mask, how you can just remove it and live your best life
Wow.
and not live with any restrictions, and learn how to live your truth.
Wow. Well, Tarralyn, you freed me with that word no, because people will tie you up, and you just gotta let them know. Okay, well, catch me on the next go round, because right now I just can't do it. I have to put me first. And
And
another word. Oh,
can
you
I
had
say something too?
yeah.
One day I was in I was at an event somewhere, and I was looking across the room. I don't know what made me look, but I was looking across the room and I was looking at the men and the women. And I noticed that the women had more stress on their face
Mm,
than the men. And
wow.
I was like, wow, are we as women carrying more weight? Meaning not physical weight, but weight mentally?
Mm,
Because you can see the frown marks, you can see the stress expressions. It was like, wow, that made a statement to me on that day to let me know we wear it on the outside.
mhm.
And it bothered me because we as women, we wear the weight
Yes.
and we need to let it go. We need to find a way to release that weight. And from that point, I made some serious observations about myself, and I had spoken with some friends about it. And it's true. We wear the weight. We don't know how to
Mhm.
release it, some people. Others just don't know how to live life. And living life, it don't have to be an expense. You can just take a day, a walk. You can just go
Mhm.
try something new, like water aerobics, or just do something different to get that additional weight off of you, whether it be mental or physical. And I tell everybody with the weight thing, what size do you wear? I tell them the size is on the. Don't worry about your size. If it said 12, it said 22. I love 22, 18. Get out of that. Love you. You the size what you say your size is. And if you're not happy with the size, do something about it. It don't have to be immediate. It can be a gradual. But love you. Love who you are.
Amen. Amen. All right. You just hit me on that one. Okay. So now you said another word, Tarralyn, that jumped out at me. Competitive.
Yes.
And you know how women are with
Yes.
being competitive and
Uh-huh.
comparing with each other. And uh, what do you say to someone? Maybe you can help me too. I mean, I'm a little less competitive these days because I'm a little older and wiser now, and so I know how to focus on what God gave me for
Right.
my purpose. So I'm doing better, much better with that. And I mean, that's just it's so much freedom in letting it go and focus on your purpose. But what would you say to the woman or the man who has that real competition and that's out of balance, to the point where they're looking at others and comparing themselves with others, and they're constantly tearing themselves down inwardly?
Competitiveness can be dangerous because you're looking on the outside, you really don't know what's going on in the inside. It's just like somebody buying a Mercedes and can't put gas in it.
Uh,
You're looking on the outside, they're driving this car, but you don't really know their financial state. So it can be a very dangerous situation,
right.
comparing yourself to others, because you really don't know. Look at social media. Look at the young people, not just young people, everybody looking at social media. They're comparing themselves to what they see, right? So you
Mhm.
don't know what you're looking at is actually real. So
Exactly.
the thing is this: step away from being competitive, going back to self-care, going back to you. Dig and learn you. Love you. Be you. Enjoy you. Don't compare.
Amen. Amen. Wow. Wonderful. We're getting some good information, some good motivation here today in the audience. I hope you are being blessed. Take this information and run with it. Free yourself and get whole. Okay. And so, Tomeka, let me go to you. Uh, let me just try to wrap this up. We almost there, but let me go to you. What is your routine, maybe in the morning or the evening, or something you do throughout the week, or something you might schedule for yourself once a month, as far as self-care and how you value yourself and take care of yourself? What are some of the things that you do um, for yourself?
Well, I do my natural hair care, because I try to wear less weaves, saying now this is my natural hair. Um, and also, I'm trying now this keto thing. So with the whole weight loss and just like getting it, like try to do like vacations or going somewhere, maybe to like a hotel, get away from the kids because I have three of them and they're not going to drive me insane. Um, and then just you know like facials, and like try to like YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. Like I'll try to look up like how to do makeup and stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to get into like a lot of things, and then
Mhm.
I don't I mean, as you know, like I like 2 years ago, I was doing the Elite Designs by Me, and I still do that, so in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what, I should be further along than what I am. But you know what? In God's time. So I still,
Amen.
I still do things here and there. I still make, cups, and now make coasters. So, as gradually, as time goes. So um that's what I do. I still look up designs, I still make stuff, I still, incorporate things. So, as time goes. So I never give up on myself.
Mm.
And I I see ways I can advance myself, and go back to my natural, seeing my natural roots, and hair growth, and take time away from these kids so they won't stress me out because I'm only 34.
Right.
And that's pretty much, saying it ways to keep my sanity, and saying ways to do my own like makeup and stuff like that, to save money. And that's, saying that's pretty much what I do.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I forgot you're like my mother. You guys are Miss Arts and Crafts, okay? And my mom, you're like my mom. She, sews, and she do little things on hats, and she love fashions, and she stay in her zone, and but that's therapeutic for her. She loves it. So yeah, she absolutely loves it. So the audience, you guys, if you're listening, maybe you can get some tips from Tomeka. Maybe she stirred something in you, and maybe you can say to yourself, yeah, this is something I can do. I like to do this. Let me just pencil this in as something that I can do just for me. Okay. And Tarralyn, let me go to you. What do you do, or what is your routine, or anything that you do like once a month or once a week, just for you, for self-care?
I'm into interior design. I'm very creative. Do a lot of writing. Do a lot of custom pieces that's part of my company. And also, I like to be around water. In my neighborhood, we have a nice lake that I like to sit out on and just read and prepare for my next step. I'm just
Mhm.
naturally a creative person. I think outside the box, which involves like the Self Care Diva chat that was premiered on September the 9th.
Yes.
We're coming back in November. So it's gonna be a
Okay.
lot of creative platforms that's incorporated with the TJ's design and events that's going to be incorporated in that platform. So I'm very excited about it because it not only involves special guests, but there are going to be events tied into the Self Care Diva platform, with a lot of creative aspects that's going to be added. So I'm very excited about that, especially targeting younger women on that platform to
Mhm.
incorporate their talents. So this is something I'm very excited about, and it actually relaxes me in preparing for this. because I get to utilize those particular skills.
Wow, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to give each of you space in a few seconds, in a few minutes to pitch whatever you're doing, whatever projects you're working on, anything you want to announce. But before I do, I'm going to put in my little 2 cents. What I do for self care, I'm working on uh, the recreational part. So I'm right now I'm getting my mind ready to start scheduling some stuff because I was real bad for that. The only thing I really did because I'm work, you know what I mean, and I make money on the stock market, so I'm just like work. So the only thing I really did this year was go on my family trip for my birthday. Me, my brother, and my dad celebrated our birthdays. We're all Leos. So around the same time, so we all celebrated our birthdays on a family trip, and that was good. So I said to myself, every now and then I'm gonna do a trip with the family because I really enjoy being around them. And I think one of the things that I'm gonna start is for me, my mom, and my aunt because I love our trio thing that's going on. And I wouldn't include my baby. I have a daughter. She's just 20. She's turning 23 today. So, but she works, she's a college kid and she works. So, but just us three, just going on a weekend trip, do a little our own Brinson family retreat. Okay. So I'm working on that part. But as far as my health, self-care, this is something that I really having to put forward, all in, just basic things because as working women, we put back on the back burner, going to the doctor, getting checked out, making sure all of our levels are good. So I'm really having to get up on all of that. And so now I'm starting to exercise. I walk at least an hour a day. I try to anyway. So these are the things that I'm doing for self-care. And I'm going to be, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm going to be adding on some more stuff as time go by. Okay, so just giving you guys, the audience, giving you some, ideas. Hopefully, you will take from what each of us have said and motivate you, whatever situation you in. Hopefully, this will help you. That's the whole point of the show. The name of the show is Mindset for Success. So we want to equip you with tools that you need and the ideas
Mhm.
for you to have a mindset for success. Okay. So, Tomeka, let me go to you first. Anything that you want to pitch or announce? Anything that projects that you got going on?
Well, like I said, I'm doing my Elite Designs by Me. I don't have a website or anything like that, but I do it like, on the side. But in order to get in contact with me, some of the things I do, like coasters, like custom cups, like wine glasses are my specialty, because I'm a wine drinker. So I said, well, why not just make wine glasses? I do memorial coffee cups, but you can DM me. My Facebook is actually underneath Mahogany Love, and that's MAHOGANY and Love LOVE. So I can post. I'll post some pictures on my actual Facebook later on today, so you can have some ideas of some of the things that I do. But that's it in regards to that. Eventually I'll get maybe a website and stuff like that going. But for right now, it's just a hobby, but one step at a time.
Right, right. Okay. And Tarralyn, what do you have? Anything you have going on? Anything you want to announce? Any
Sure.
projects?
Well, Living a Mass Life. The book can be found on my name, Tarralyn-Jones.com, if you want an autographed copy. It also can be purchased on Amazon, but people are wanting an autographed copy. You can go to TarralynJones.com. And when you go to TarralynJones.com, you will also see the Self Care Diva products. We have the shirts, the bags. They're pretty cool. They're blinged out. We have various products on that page. And also subscribe. If you subscribe to that page, You also get updates on the Self-Care Diva chat, which will be coming back in November. It'll be featured twice a month with special guests. So I'm very excited about that, and upcoming events. And on next Saturday, Making Strides Walk of Orlando, I'll be opening up for the opening ceremony. If you're in town, come out and support Making Strides Walk of Orlando. And if you desire to donate towards the cause, we are under the Southern Region team. $5, $10, anything that you could donate will help the research to breast cancer. And I'm very excited about the strides that they have made through Making Strides, which is American Cancer Society, that they've made towards the research.
All right, all right. Awesome stuff you guys are doing. And I send blessings your way. May you prosper in everything that you're doing. And I just want to thank you two for coming on and sharing your personal stories and your expertise. I really enjoyed you. And hopefully we change some lives today and put forth some good ideas and motivate some people to, having a mindset for success and prospering in this life. Okay, you guys be blessed. Again, this is
Thank you.
Mindset for Success. And we are here every every Saturdays at 10 a.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And then it's also going to re-air on Kingdom Purpose TV. If you have Roku or Fire Stick or Apple or Amazon TV, then you can log on. You search for Kingdom Purpose TV, and we're on every Monday nights at 9 p.m. So if you don't catch us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live every Saturday at 10 a.m., you can watch the rerun on Kingdom Purpose TV at Monday nights at 9 p.m. Okay? So until next week, you guys be blessed.
Thank you.
For success. If you're looking for positivity,